Welcome to Random Thoughts with Maxine. It's a beautiful Monday morning. Trust your weekend was good. Top of the morning to all my lovely listeners. It's always a pleasure coming your way. It's Random Thoughts with Maxine. Welcome to my world where we speak, we talk, anything, everything that resonates with us as human beings. My weekend was packed. I literally dragged myself into the studio this morning, all excited to share my weekend with you. Trust you are all itching to hear what's up with the weekend and what went down. So I'll just fill you in with what went down over the weekend, and then we'll pick our thoughts from those places, and then I'm sure we're going to have an awesome time. Thank you so much for connecting with us. Please tell a friend to do so, and let's all connect here. It's Random Thoughts with a Zine. I'll be right back. Come back. As I said earlier on, my weekend was packed. Okay, so Saturday, that was on a sad note. I had to attend a funeral of a young woman, and then I came back home very morose and in a very pensive mood, more or less like a deliberative mood on how short life is, and that one moment you are here and the next you are gone. And I was just thinking to myself, what do we do with the time that we have? Okay, please try and live a purposeful life, because tomorrow is never promised. Once you have life, once you have the gift of a new day, make it count. Make it count. So all of you working and all of you trying to put food on the table and hustling, make it count. Know that someday you'll be out of here, and once you are out of here, you are expected to give an account of how you lived your life. Make sure you give a good account. So that's on a sad note. And on a more joyous note, yesterday was my dad's birthday. He turned 59, and I called him up in the morning because we don't live together. And as a good daughter, the first thing you do when you wake up on your daddy's birthday is to give him some shout out. And I'm also saying, so I called my dad, and I was expecting that it was going to be the normal happy birthday and say some words of blessings on him. Apparently, I had borrowed credit from MTN. So I was working within limited credits, and I wasn't too sure the conversation was going to last long. For me, I anticipated that maximum 5 minutes we should be done talking. But you know how it is like when your old folks are celebrating birthday. It sets them thinking, and they want to run some few thoughts by you. And his thoughts that he expressed or he shared with me yesterday kind of like confirmed what I had intended sharing with you on Monday. So I was like, okay, that's more or less like the icing on the top of the cake. So it makes it even better getting to hear things from an experienced man. Being 55 is a good number of years. He's approaching retirement next year, God willing. And so he wanted to run some few thoughts by me, and I took my time to listen. And you know how it is like with old folks. So he will talk, then he will mention the part that he is growing, and when are you getting married? I say, hey, a same way. But I know, sometimes when you start aging, reality sets in, and you begin to ask yourself certain questions. But there are some thoughts he shared with me. As for the marriage matter, I think on a good day we'll treat the subject. But there are some thoughts that he shared with me that had a connection with what I already had prepared to share with you people. And you know how we do it. We share our experiences, and I try as much as possible to be brutally honest, okay? Because you do not know what you will say that will go a long way to change somebody's mindset. So my dad spoke, and primarily all our discussions were centered on how we treat people, okay? How we treat the people that come our way, the people that cross our path. And most often than not, we are very quick to make reference to how people have treated us in the past. We all remember how somebody treated us badly. We can vividly remember and recount those experiences. For some of us, we still have those experiences of that JHS classmate who looked down on you, or that secondary school classmate you met at the bank who is now a manager and was giving you some attitude which got you all angry. And so we are almost every time saying he didn't treat me nicely, he was rude, he wasn't pleasant and all that. But can we do a reverse? Can we turn the tables? Can we do a vice versa of this particular situation? There are times we ourselves don't treat people well. And this morning, my reflection and my thoughts for the morning is on how we treat people. Okay, is on how we treat people. So some years back at the University of Ghana campus, we had gone for a long break. You know how the long vac is. Between May, you come back early part of August. So we had come back from vacation. And for those of us who didn't get the chance to boga, you just be in the house and pray that you get school fees and other things, other essentials before school reopens. And for those who get the opportunity to boga, you know how it is like. Then bogging was a big deal. It was the ish. I don't know about now, but then it was a big deal. Everybody had like a record of those who had traveled and those who had gone to the US and those who had gone to the London and are coming back. And you know, the boggers have a way of giving pressure on campus. So if you have a friend who had boggered then, you were rolling with the high and mighty, you know, that kind of thing. They were going to pressure you with their dressing, with how they spend on campus, with maybe the latest ride, or probably the person had changed cars, you know, that kind of thing. And for buggering on campus, for me, Legon, it was a big deal. And so I was just going through the normal process of registering, departmental registration. Then I bumped into a guy in my department, and you know, he was also on the list of buggers for that semester or for that vacation. And he wasn't really my friend, but you know how it is like when you're in a small department. First year, you take time to familiarize, and then second year, you know everybody by their name and faces. So it is just courteous that when you bump into them, you are nice. So I bumped into this bogger. I think he had gone to UK then, and even his outfit for registration could speak for itself, was just speaking for itself. Everything was smelling pounds. So we just bumped into each other and he asked if I was done with registration, and I said okay, yes. And he wasn't my friend, so I wasn't really understanding why he was asking me a lot of questions. But as I said, it was just courteous. So I was just courteous. I'm like, oh, yes. Then he's like, oh, you're looking good. And I'm like, thank you. And you know what vacation does to some of us? Because you don't have a job and you can't do vacation job, and you have time on your hands, you do a lot of eating, and I think I had put on a little. So the guy was just interested in them, as my friend would say, table of content. I think I was looking all good, and it's like, how come I didn't see this girl like last semester? So that was the vibe I got. And I was also like, he wasn't really one of my favorite persons. But the only time I had strike a conversation with him was because he had a surname with somebody I sat in class with during my secondary school days. And I, out of curiosity, I'm like, oh, you have a surname with my friend. And I was like, oh, okay, it's a large family, you can't really connect, you know, that kind of thing. So that was the most expressive conversation I've had with him. All others were just informal, straight to the point, and we're good to go. And it's like, okay, so when are you moving on to campus? Then I just told him reluctantly. I wasn't thinking like a guy was thinking. He had seen something he liked. And he was just warming up so that I can also open up, and so that together we can make things happen. But my mind wasn't there at all. And because he wasn't somebody I ordinarily would vibe with, I was kind of like also dragging my feet. So semester began, where we were talking informally. And there was this time we had a long conversation. It's like, can I pass by your room? And I said, okay. Then I gave him time. Because you know how it is when you're in an all-female female hall. You can't come and inconvenience your roommates with visit. So I gave him time, and then he didn't turn up. So the next time he called back, and he was like, oh, sorry, I couldn't make it the other time. Can I pass by again? I told him that this time I'm busy. So can we reschedule? I don't know which part of rescheduling this gentleman didn't get. Just when I was in my room, 6 o'clock, have towel around my chest, have my bucket of water, I'm going to take my bath. Here was this gentleman knocking on my door. And I was really angry. I was like fuming. So I quickly had to put on something. And then he sat down comfortably on my bed and started talking plenty. Now I was like, gentleman, already I had told you that I am not available this time. Can we reschedule? You defy my simple plea of let's reschedule. And you come at a time that you're... And for me, I like it when people respect my boundaries. I will set boundaries and I expect that you respect them. And unfortunately, I felt like this young man was not respecting my boundaries. First time, you miss an appointment. Second time, can we reschedule? And you come at your own time. And that alone was off for me. So I overreacted. I did. And unfortunately, I had somebody also come to visit a friend, a male friend in my room. And I overreacted. I look back then and I thought I didn't overreact because it was a normal thing to do. But now I look back and I thought I had overreacted. One, probably it was out of immaturity. Okay. And you know how it is. Like I told you not to come and you come and you know that kind of thing. So eventually the guy's ego was bruised. He just stood up and he just left. And the guy who came to visit the friend, my roommate, just said, Maxine, I thought you overreacted. You should have found a nice way. And I was trying to justify my actions. I did. I defended my action to the very last call with every drop of blood in my veins. But you know, when the guy left, I thought about what he said. And he took the matter from a male's perspective. That when you shout on a guy and you talk to him on top of your voice and you say things that are not nice, you bruise their ego. And it's not only with reference to guys, it's reference to all human beings. When you don't talk to people in a nice way, they might not show it, they might not tell you, they might not be very open and transparent about how they feel or how they felt about how you talk to them. But trust you me, you bruise people's ego when you are not nice and pleasant with your words. And that's what happens to a lot of us. We've spoken to people in tones and in manners that they have not given us an opportunity to let them know, to let us know how they really felt at that point. But indirectly, we have made people become by force introverts. People have coiled just because somebody spoke to them in a certain way. And they are like, no way, there's no way I'm going to give myself or put myself out there to be trampled upon. So this morning, we are just looking at when the tables turn with regards to how we treat people. You might still have that experience of how that old classmate treated you. But you still have an experience of how you treated somebody badly. One, maybe they didn't get the opportunity to let you know how bad they felt. But this is my example. So that is how I learned my first lesson with story number 1. Guess what? I made effort to salvage the situation. I made effort to do damage control. But this guy will not give me audience. And I felt it. I meet him at the department. I'm like, sorry for the other time. I didn't speak to you well. I thought about it. I thought I was extremely rude. Can you please forgive me? And these were his words to me. The same way you made me feel, I'll make you feel like how you made me feel. I don't know if you get it. So it's more or less like tit for tat. This is a guy who was not willing and ready to let go even when I apologize. Trust you me, I apologized like a week on the same subject matter. And he was not nice. He was mean. And then when the tables were turned, I knew how it was like when people are mean and when people do not treat you well. To cut a long story short, I thought he was being overly dramatic. You cry, I have done something wrong, I have apologized, and you are making it chin like that. You have taken this whole thing World Cup. Do you know that after school, almost like 7 years, I still meet this guy in town and he gives me attitude? Then I knew that, oh, Charlie, me have done my part. And on this note, I have let go of whatever it is. I met him at the library during my LLB days. He pretended we have never even met. And I'm like, this guy has taken this thing personal. Not until one afternoon I went to Osu. And you know how Oxford Street is like. So I think I was getting something around the KFC area. Then you know how it is. I was walking, obviously. Traffic is slow around that time. Then I saw somebody in a car with the glass rolled up. Just then when I turned, our eyes met. He just rolled the glasses down and he waved at me. And it came with so much relief. Like, I'm like, after so many years, this guy has finally accepted my I'm sorry. After giving me all those major wahala. And now he can just see me in Osu and roll down and just give me a wave. And it came with a sigh of relief. Now I learned my lesson the hard way. That was my first experience in school. And so I am extremely careful how I treat people today. Sometimes you might know the theory as to how to treat people. But when it comes to the practicals, you know that they are two different terrains. They are not the same. Practical and theory, you might profess, oh, I respect people. I respect people's boundaries. I am not rude. But situations will present themselves and you will be more than shocked at yourself how you relate with people. This is Random Thoughts with Maxine. This is how I learned my first lesson the hard way on how to treat people. I thought I was a nice person till I overly reacted to some situation. I could have just toned down my voice and be more rational about it. We'll just take a quick break. I'll be right back and we'll continue with another story. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You live on Peny Radio, your number one online Christian radio station.
I'm also live, Ben. Okay, so that's it. Today we are talking about how to treat people because it was something my dad ran by me yesterday as part of his thoughts for turning 59 and how it mattered how we treat the people who come our way. And so my first lesson I have shared with you. And so because of the first lesson, I actually came up with a philosophy. It's something everybody knows. But for me, I kind of like say it repeatedly to myself to serve as like a guideline to how I treat people. And it's a small world. It's a small world. So the people you meet every day, whether by accident, whether it was planned, are meant to be in your life. And how you treat them matters because trust you me, you come to a point where you think your path will not cross again and it will cross. And how you treated them will come to the fore, okay? It will come to the fore. So I don't believe in people saying that, oh, I met you by accident. I believe in the fact that you meet people because it is divinely orchestrated. And everybody you meet at a point, whatever point it is you are in at this crucial moment, they have a role to play in your life, whether big or small. And that, for me, that's it. So when you come into my life, I just decide to categorize. You have a role to play in my life. The role can be big, as I said, it can be small. But it is for you to identify what role that kind of person is going to play in your life. So we don't meet people by accident. You might have different opinions about it, but I mean, it's my thought and I am sharing this with you. And I know that people who also can also align with this particular way of thinking. So you don't meet people by chance. You can meet by accident, so to speak, but they have a role to play in your life. Some people will help you grow. Some people will hurt you. Some people will inspire you to do better. And a whole lot of reasons. There are people who have been in my life who had caused me pain. But now I sit down and I look at the pain and the hurt I went through. And as much as it's not pleasant talking about it, it was also part of the growth process. And so do not despise the people who come your way. You don't want to hear that particular name because the person caused you hurt or caused you some pain. But even in the pain, there was a part of them that inspired you. There was a part of them that gave you a reason to wake up. There's an Ashanti proverb that says, "Oh, time we are no in America, so Kodu and we are in America." There are people who are not all perfect, but you sit back and you're like, no, this guy was influential in how I think now. So that's it for me. And so how you treat people is very significant. Okay. My experience that I shared with you earlier on gave me an insight. You know, that guy didn't treat me nice because I also didn't treat him nice. But now that experience has given me some measurements to know how to treat people, because I don't want to go through that ordeal I went through him. I'm not saying I'm all perfect with my human relation, but that particular experience is always a point of reference. It's always like a precedence. You look at that particular experience and like, oh, this is how I did it and this is the effect. Can I do it better? And so just look at your life this morning, okay? Look at all the people who have come. You see, people will come and go. People will come and go. There are friends you were gelling with probably in JHS. They are no longer your friends. There are people you were talking to in secondary school. They are no longer your friends by virtue of maybe you have moved out of Accra, job, family life, and all those life pressures. But they had a role to play in your life. And the second thing my dad said yesterday that I thought was really profound and I want to share with you this morning is that you never look down on anybody. You don't. We all do it because we have some standard of measurement. We went to the same university. We all have masters. And you look at the significant achievement of people and you would want to measure them as against yours. And that is what really causes us to look down on people. You're not my class. We want masters now. Secondary school for no more bon koma again. And once you start measuring the things you have, and you make it more significant as compared to what others have not accomplished, there is a tendency you will look down on people. You are more educated than them, and so they are not your level. Okay. But whatever it is, sometimes we don't even have the slightest idea how those people have struggled or how far they have climbed and they fail. So now you see somebody walking and you think, when is he going to get a car? You don't even know the story prior to him walking, that probably he had a car, things got tough and he sold it. I know a man who used to tell my parents that he was 18 years when his father bought him the first Peugeot. And when I grow up, he was just like a pauper. And then my mom would tell me, hey, now we're going to no. But you look at him now and think this man he had lived life in the past. So sometimes when we measure our achievement, our academic achievement, our social status to other people, and we are clueless what they have gone through, what they have lost even in the process, it's sad. It's sad. And you won't get everybody telling you their stories. And so obviously you are going to say the story from what you see or from the angle that you have observed, and which is usually flawed. It's usually not always on point. There'll be loopholes. So you get the person telling you their stories. You can't tell people's stories. Bottom line, treat people well. Do not use your significant achievements as a standard of measurement to how you treat people. Everybody matter. Do you remember the last time somebody treated you badly? Just because the person said, oh, you are not deserving of my daughter because you don't have a master's. And you were angry to the core. Do you remember that incident where your friends thought you were not supposed to be part of their clique because when they are talking certain things, you can't talk some. Do you remember the time that somebody looked down on you because you were in some slippers and your legs were all dirty, and they would just not allow you in their shop because they don't know how much money you carry? I have gone to somebody's shop and a man entered and made reference to me that wakura bakuni ni ana. I looked like a sales girl to him, and I was in the shop to get something, and the owner of the shop is my friend. So he just looked at me and like, the wakura bakuni ana, new girls ni be sales girls ni be ana. Then I just smiled. I wasn't hurt, because for me, I'm trying as much as possible not to measure my life with the things I have or the things I have achieved. It is okay to take me for one of a sales girl. I mean, that is what you saw. Probably I looked like one. I can't go around explaining I'm not a sales girl, what you mean and all that. But I pardon him. And when you treat people well, and you treat people with respect, you are not easily angered when they take you for something else. You pardon them. You pardon them because you know that the things are not the standard that defines you. Okay? So please treat people well. From the cleaner to the security man at your work to everybody, treat people well. And the next thing I want to run by you is that appreciate those who have supported you. During this journey of life, we can't achieve it all alone. You know it. There are people who have been there for you from beginning till now. Appreciate them. Call them. Let them know that, Charlie, that help you offered when I was going to that university, the forms you bought for me, or that mobile money alert I got, it saved me. I'm really grateful. Forgive those who hurt you. That's what my father said. Forgive those who hurt you. Forgive them. Try and forgive them. Don't hold grudges. Charlie, it's a simple world. One moment you are here, the brevity of life would give you a reason to not to hold grudges. Just forgive people, okay? Help those who are in need, because Charlie, life is complex. If you can't help, if you have the means to show love, just show it. I would say that what's the point helping those that can pay you back? Fish out those who are in need. There are people who are in need. Do act of random kindness. Call somebody, send somebody something. There are times that as I sit here, you are not in the mood to be nice. I won't lie about it. There are times we all have mood swings. We have our bad days. Things are not going well, but you still have to be nice, because you might not know how your niceness will motivate somebody. And I when the tables are turned, there are people who you try to be nice and they are very mean. Forgive them, okay? Some people do not even know it when they are rude. That's the annoying part. They are clueless. They are oblivious. And sometimes when you dig deeper into their upbringing, you realize that there were some hitches. And so they don't know it when they are rude. They are not socially aware that they are not nice people. They lack understanding, and they cannot even identify that their behavior is rude. Such people, just pardon them. Let it slide. But trust you me, in your bid to let it slide, I will say this again. If someone is disrespecting you, draw the boundaries, because people will take you for granted when you are nice. When you try to play your part, be all smiley, show kindness, respect them, they will try to take you for a ride. But draw boundaries, okay? Let them know that this is my boundary. Someone talks to you in a way you don't like it, tell them in a nice way, I don't like the way you spoke to me, or I don't like the way you are speaking to me. Then the person will know your intrinsic value. The fact that you're supposed to be nice doesn't mean you should sit down and people trample upon you and talk to you anyhow. Be gentle, but draw your boundaries and make sure that people do not cross those boundaries. Because in your bid to be nice, people will cross boundaries. But it's for you to let them know that, hey, you are going too far. And then in a gentle way, just let them know. At the end of the day, this is a quote from Maya Angelou. People won't remember you for what you said or did. They will remember you for how you made them feel. People will not, at the end of the day, this is what I'm saying, that people will not remember what you said or did. They will remember you for how you made them feel. Lift people up. Encourage people. Be patient. Avoid being angry. And always put on a smile. Even when it's difficult, put on a smile. So these are thoughts for the morning. Make this week count. Can you just go a little more from what you are doing? Can you put in a little more effort? There are people who are not emotionally safe. They are having challenges and struggles. By your niceness, your patience, your gentility, your regard for the fact that they are human beings and they are supposed to be respected, will give them a change of mind and a change of heart. Make that difference in your office this morning. Treat people well because it matters. It's a small world. You go around in circle and you come and meet them again. Make each day count. Make a little more effort to be nice. Make a little more effort to be appreciative of what people do for you. Make a little more effort to be kind, and you'll be good to go. Thank you so much for your time. It's been your girl, your everything Som, Maxine, and thanks so much for connecting. See you, God willing, on Wednesday. Bye.